What if I told you we could create $4 billion in additional revenue for the Australian tourism industry? Does this sound too good to be true? Let's take a step back.
Deloitte's Positioning for Prosperity report identified tourism as one of Australia's next waves of growth. Their 4% per annum growth projections would see the industry size double in just 2 decades. But it's not just international visitors that want to experience Australia. The fall in the Australian dollar means that even more domestic tourists are checking out their own backyard.
But for some tourists, it's not quite so easy. Take Bill. He has a mobility impairment that requires the use of a wheelchair. Like 20% of Australian citizens, he experiences a disability. Despite what you might think, he still takes a holiday at least once a year, just like 88% of other Australians with a disability. Unfortunately, it can be very difficult. Why?
One of the biggest difficulties reported by people like Bill is finding reliable, up-to-date and comprehensive information on accessibility for their travels. He finds the search for information inefficient and exhausting because information is scattered across so many different sources. When he does find information, he is uncertain of its accuracy. Like the time where a hotel's website advertised wheelchair accessibility, but upon arrival found that his room was anything but. Now, he often pays a premium for peace of mind and tends to rely on word-of-mouth advice from other travellers with similar needs, which can be hard to come by. It doesn't have to be like this.
That's where Accessible Australia comes in. Deloitte has the experience and expertise to change the landscape of accessible tourism in Australia. Deloitte can leverage their resources and capabilities to create economic, efficiency and social value for travellers like Bill, as well as Australian business and government. Thus, realising that $4 billion in potential value. But what would this look like?
Industry-facing, there is a database for businesses to input accessibility features and details. Participating businesses will receive updates from governments on changing regulations, information on best practice, as well as marketing materials. This database forms the content for the tourist-facing part of Accessible Australia. It's a digital web-based platform from which tourists can easily find suitable attractions, hotels, restaurants and transport. It will integrate feedback through user recommendations, comments and ratings, as well as meeting global standards of digital accessibility to ensure full usability by the target market. Ultimately, Accessible Australia will facilitate information transfer in the accessible tourism ecosystem. But can something at this level be done?
The answer is yes. Germany are world leaders in accessible tourism and have been seriously investing in this area since 2000. Australia had an opportunity to do the same thing as far back as 1998. But despite a big accessibility push for the 2000 Olympic Games, we lacked a coordinated national approach and so lost momentum. Whilst there have been a few grassroots or localised attempts, none have had the scope, comprehensiveness and functionality to provide a truly centralised and robust solution for either travellers or businesses. This area remains a missed opportunity. Deloitte is well equipped to deliver our solution. With expertise in digital design of complex content management systems and a resume of consulting experience integrating diverse stakeholders. So what would the outcome be?
Well, for Bill, it would mean saving time, money, effort and frustration. He would feel more confident knowing he had a reliable, accurate and up-to-date source of information on the best places to eat, stay and play. A channel for providing feedback on his tourism experiences will allow for continued contribution to the community more broadly.
For the industry, the financial outcome is clear. Just for domestic tourism by people with disabilities, the estimated latent value of this market is $4 billion. This means that by increasing participation by just 1.25%, you would see your $50 million value.
But that data was from 2003, and in the 12 years since, the tourism industry has seen significant growth. This means that the potential market size is now even larger than these estimates. But is this going to work? To compare, similar initiatives in Europe modelling 3 scenarios offering partial, extended and complete accessibility of venues showed that in the most conservative estimate, partial accessibility provision increased domestic demand alone by 24.2%.
With a happy economy and a happier Bill, the future looks good for Australia. Accessible Australia will open our doors wider to international and domestic travellers alike, creating substantial value for Deloitte and their clients.